Canopic jar with the lid in the shape of a royal woman's head. This canopic jar is from the Marna period of the New Kingdom reign of Akhenaten, which is dated around 1352 to 1336 BC. The jar, found in Thebes, Tomb 55 in the Valley of the Kings, was meant for a funerary context. Canopic jars were typically used to store the internal organs that were removed from the body for mummification.
It is Egyptian from Upper Egypt, and the materials are travertine, which is Egyptian alabaster, blue glass, obsidian, and unidentified stone. The height is measured at 53.2 centimeters long.
During the Amarna period, princesses and queens wore wigs inspired by those of Nubian mercenary soldiers, like the one we see on this particular canopic jar head, which is an indicator of the time period that this was made.
In addition, notice the hole at the center of the forehead. It once secured the separately carved upper body of a cobra whose tail is visible across the top of the wig. This royal protector was worn only by kings and queens.
Also, it is important to note that since the jar's discovery in 1907, the face has been identified as multiple individuals. Some are Queen Tia, Akhenaten's mother, Queen Nefertiti, his principal wife, Queen Kia, his secondary wife, and Princess Meritaten, his eldest daughter. For a time, it was even identified as Akhenaten himself. This confusion is possible due to the inscription being almost completely erased, which would have identified the owner.
According to art historian from the Met Museum, the woman depicted on the jar lid has been tentatively identified as Tia, Akhenaten's mother. There are traces of reworking on her collar and on the innermost band of her wig. However, faint traces of hieroglyphs also indicate that the jar was originally inscribed for Kia, Akhenaten's secondary wife.
Also, according to writer Edith Whitney Watts in her book Art of Ancient Egypt, a resource for educators, Watts states that as in many canopic jar heads, attention is drawn especially to the eyes as a deceased woman connects with the world of the living. And this specific jar has large black pupils of obsidian.
This jar was found in one of the most controversial tombs of Egypt, Tomb 55. It is controversial due to plundering and the reuse of jars and coffins by other members of the royal family. Therefore, we may never be able to accurately identify who is the true owner of this canopic jar head.
Ark of Augustus, Aosta. The triumphal arch known as the Ark of Augustus is located in Aosta, northern Italy. The ark was erected during the reign of Augustus in 25 BC to honor the emperor and his victory over the Salci people and region. The ark was built with pudding stone as its material, and its total height is 45 feet tall. But it is now stripped of all ornaments and the top that had once decorated it.
According to the book Art and Archaeology, in sharing the historical context, the authors noted that early in the 1st century BC, the Romans discovered that the passes over the Alps in the Salci country were among the best leading into Helvetia and Gaul, and that it would be necessary for a republic to control them. Therefore, in 25 BC, Augustus undertook the subjugation of the Salci.
The Ark of Augustus is set up in front of the principal gateway of the city, facing Rome. It was erected on the Pomerian Line, which was a narrow strip of land marked off around an ancient Roman town or city and held sacred. Although it has lost its superstructure above the triglyph frieze, which altered its proportions, you can see that it is still one of the most impressive of the Roman memorial arcs due to its large size and simplicity.
The ark is an adaptation of classical Greek style to Roman seriousness of purpose and sound simplicity through its combination of Corinthian columns with a Doric entablature. The space of the curve of the arch and the entablature was filled up with big wedges to create harmony. The archway is the width of the road and it is quite low. Also, notice there is no keystone to the arch, rather across the vault. A strong iron bar supports the large crucifix placed there some 600 years ago.
Some scholars, however, believe that the ark is wrongfully called a triumphal ark. In the book The Valley of Aosta, The authors state that the city Aosta was no place for triumphs, as Rome was the only city that could bestow the privilege and enjoy the pageant of a triumph. Augustus, however, on that particular occasion refused the triumph decreed to him by the Senate, but accepted instead the tribute of an ark erected in the Alps.